Hello, fellow educators. My name is Fanny Passeport. I am a 21st century learner, leader, and invitational educator. I believe everyone is able, valuable, and possesses untapped potential for learning. I love researching, reflecting, and testing out ways to create the best conditions to cultivate the power of I CAN for our young learners, but also in adults. To access that empowerment within ourselves, we need to understand intrinsic and extrinsic motivation and be aware of how we can go around the barriers of the game of school. Extrinsic motivation is the carrot and the stick. Carrots are the trophies, awards, and medals, the rewards and praises that we give at school, and the sticks are often hidden in what we call consequences or the use of behavior chart, competition grades, and so on. It might be useful short term, but long term really it isn't effective and it can create a really unhealthy environment for our learners. Intrinsic motivation, on the other hand, is that inner satisfaction for learning for the sake of it. It's our drive to grow our learning muscle and direct our own learning, taking control over it and feeling successful. To nurture this kind of a motivation, we need to recognize, honor, and unleash our and our students' I CAN power. If we were live together, I might ask you to take a few minutes to examine those images. What do you see, think, and wonder about those contrasting images? How might they apply to our conversation? Otto Scharmer's work on Leading from the Emerging Future and Theory U is about moving from an ego system to an ecosystem. And I truly think that this completely applies to education. Oftentimes, schools are ecosystems, even unintentionally. They can tend to be disconnecting parts and people, encouraging competition, playing the game of school with winners and losers, with compliance and control as their ways to function because, well, we have always done it this way, or because we want change, but we don't really want to change. In an ecosystem, we look at the bigger picture that we are all part of and the interconnectedness of our actions within the system. It's when we see ourselves as influencers. This includes looking at ourselves within the system and accessing our internal resources to transform it. With an open mind by being curious, an open heart by being compassionate, and an open will by being courageous. What does it mean in terms of inquiry-based learning? Cultivating the power of I CAN for me is about committing to co-creating this ecosystem with our learners. And everything that I am sharing here applies to adults as much as it applies to students. There are three essential needs that we all have as humans, and those are extremely useful to teachers, much more than understanding how to write a perfect unit planners, for example, because those impact our learners in the long run. Those focus on building their intrinsic motivation, their self-directedness that will support them throughout their life. The first one is relatedness. We cannot learn if we are not connected to ourselves and others, and when we don't feel that we are cared for. We cannot learn if we are not in a safe physical, social, and emotional environment. When our learners feel safe, they can throw themselves into the unexpected, into the not knowing yet zone. The learning zone is always a bit uncomfortable. So to engage students in a trial and error process, they need to feel that they can take risks and make mistakes, and also that they can bounce back, but they won't be judged for their mistakes and risks. Relatedness is also moving from classroom management that is done to students to building a community where all learners belong and care for one another, where the teacher is a partner in learning and where building relationships is essential. Competence. Developing a culture of I CAN is always about teaching up from where students are. It's never about lowering expectations or dumbing down. Everyone has a need to feel effective and successful, or to feel the possibility of success. Nobody is ever looking for mediocrity as a goal. We all long to develop competency. Yet this can only happen when high expectations come with high support, when the learning situation allows learners to access their internal resources. If it is too easy or too hard, we won't be in the learning zone. This zone varies for each learner, so we need to personalize, exercise flexibility, and scaffold learning. We design learning to the edges because average is a myth. Educators today aren't mere facilitators, they are learning coaches who activate learning with situations they intentionally design, with questions they generate with learners, or feedback they provide. They don't interfere or control the process, but they find the sweet spot so learners can access and practice new learnings and reach a transfer stage where learning is retained, not memorized. 3. Autonomy. Students eventually need to be in control of their learning to truly empower themselves. The most popular idea here is choice. For example, choosing the learning experience out of a list of different options, choosing how to demonstrate your learning through co-created assessment, choosing a role within a team. But students also need to advocate for themselves to get that choice so that they can contribute their ideas. Here, the sense of control is even more important than the control itself. Learners know themselves best, so we should try to trust them in their capacity to direct themselves and to make decisions about their learning. This part is really hard for us because it involves letting go of some or a lot of our control within our ecosystem so that we can let come of the new, and the new is unpredictable. So, relatedness, competence, and autonomy. These are three needs that we need to meet for ourselves and for our learners. So here's my takeaway question for you. What might be some of the things that you might want to start doing, continue doing, and stop doing to cultivate your and your students' I CAN power in your own ecosystem? Thank you, and keep your flame burning.
Competence, autonomy, and relatedness is the vehicle that drives us along the path of inquiry. That's what Jonathan just said. Definitely. Yeah. So people are getting inspired. But guys, we want to get inspired by you, so you can raise your hand and you can share with us whatever you have in mind, whatever works for your kids. Awesome, Jonathan. Amazing. Great.
I had one question about students setting goals for themselves. So how do you, I mean, I understand that personally it is tough for me sometimes to let students make those choices for themselves, especially when I feel like students are not setting a high enough goal for themselves. But how do you balance, giving students autonomy and simultaneously supporting them in making challenging choices for themselves, like kind of encouraging them to be a risk taker like the IB profile. So how do you kind of evaluate when you should step in and when you should take a step back? And if you're taking a step back, how do you actually support them?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're right, Jonathan. I think it's different for each learner. From my point of view, I have experienced as well that certain times it's that self-regulation or that self-awareness is not, they're not yet there because their brain is developing. So we need to help them. So I think two things that makes me think about is, one is the gradual release of, we could say, of agency. Because this is all about agency. Like, we know they have agency within themselves, but they might not yet control it or know how to release it. So what we want is that it comes out of them. So we want to gradually release this agency. What we can do for that is sometimes we can model it, or sometimes we can give them specific feedback. We can ask them a question as inquiry teachers. Do you think this is high enough? Or we can challenge them, especially for teenagers. It works well to be like, I don't know if you can do it. So, like challenging them with something so that they could prove us wrong. So that gradual release can be handy. And then what Kat Murdoch talks about really is kind of that as well, is notice and release. So really notice and find the right way so that that learning can come out of them. So if you think this goal isn't high enough, what can you do without telling that can generate the learner to change their goal by themselves? So I know it's an answer that's kind of like a big picture answer, but I'm trying to stay with, they can do it. They know themselves best. They can make the decisions. So I can give them the information, but it's their choice. And because I want to build that alongside whatever skill we're working on.
Fanny, Susie Worthy just said, getting rid of the behavior charts required me to give the children a special space to cool down or self-regulate. I had success with my refocus spot. So that is a great strategy for you know, to establish that classroom culture that embraces changes of, you know, emotions and thoughts.
About behavior chart, I will paste a link now, and I can paste it again on the Facebook group because I prepared this question. I thought this might come up. So this is like a blog post I've done recently, and it's based on the article by Dominic Smith and Leanne Young, who are all about relationship and inclusion. And they have made that it's a paper on ASCD, and it's about tearing down behavior charts, how it really does hurt our learners. And we don't realize it because we want to do the right thing. We want to reward them, or we want to help them with their behavior, or maybe we just don't have time to manage that behavior. So this is like a quick thing that teachers do a lot, they still do a lot, or they use digital tools that promote this. So this paper really explained how it's hurting our students, especially the most vulnerable students, and what we can do instead, which is mostly building relationships.
We'll definitely have a look at that. Nehru, are you ready?
Yes, I am. Thank you. Thank you for the wonderful presentation. First of all, it was really insightful. And what I would like to ask is, I'm recently handling pre-primary students and dealing with these setting of goals, or like, you know, wanting what they want kind of thing. It's good when they decide it on themselves, and as a class, we all build it together. But when they don't achieve it, they tend to get demotivated really quickly. And in especially Southeast Asia culture, I would say, it is a good way, but also a bad way. Parents keep on pushing themselves to do more in a way, like they tend to expect too much from the kids. So in that type of situation with pre-primary and primary kids, especially because they tend to get so demotivated so quickly, what are the suggestions, or what kind of things that we can do to manage even the parents and also the students at the same time? Yeah.
That is a great point. We encourage you guys, those who are listening, if you have any strategies to help parents understand how the new education system works, we would be super happy to hear them. Yeah, that is a great question, Nehru. How do we help them understand that, yeah, putting pressure on the kid is not the way to go? There you go.
Hello, I'm Dina from India. I've been working as a PYT practitioner for 15 years. And I would like just share with Jonathan something I do when I'm trying to ask my students to set goals for themselves. So basically, we have a reflecting time after each new concept. And then the students try to choose the visual reflection aids to help themselves to set where they are and where they want to be. So using from 4 to 1, 4 is the maximum they can achieve. 1 is when they need to ask for help. And by choosing one of these numbers, they have peer reflection afterwards. And then they try to set ways to help them reach those goals. By the end of the week, we try to collect our reflection from all those concepts that we have. And then we set the big goals for this week. We do the same thing by the end of each quarter. So we look at our books or our projects or our charts And we try to collect those reflections and try to set bigger goals for the coming quarter. So this helped me a lot, giving my students a chance to promote agency, giving them the way to choose their goals and the ways to help them reach those goals as well. I am mainly teaching PYP, but it was very successful this year because I joined a new school in India. Not a new school, I am a new member in the school, and their system is promoting agency a lot. So this was really effective with my students of grade 4.
That's great. Thank you very much for sharing. We've got Helen here
Thank
who
you.
would like to contribute too.
I've got to hold on, I haven't unmuted myself.
You got it, you got it. We can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So going back to how can you educate parents, we've done 2 different approaches recently. So with our early years parents, we had them in for a very short half-an-hour session, gave them some things that they needed to be looking for in classrooms based on the kind of skills and self-direction that the children would have. And then we sent them off into classrooms, into early years classrooms, where their child wasn't. So that there wasn't that interplay that can interfere with them seeing the bigger picture. Then after about 40 minutes in the classroom, we brought them back with the homeroom teachers that they'd seen, and they had a chance to sit and discuss with those teachers. What we did with our grade 1s to our grade 5s was, again, we had 2 workshops. The first workshop, we did a lot of theory with our parents. We got them to think about what agency they had in their lives, what agency their kids had in their family lives. And then we had another session where we had different teachers come in and explain how forms of agency were working in their particular classroom. And the parents carouselled around those teachers just to hear the different ways that agency was in play in the school and how co-constructed assessment works and co-constructed learning environments work.
That's awesome. Thank you very much, Helen. That's really helpful, definitely. Here we have Amanda who said, explain explicitly to the parents about how and what the children are learning. Writing learning stories fairly often that explicitly state what objectives the students are learning. This makes it easier for parents, my experience in Eastern Europe and Southeast Asia, to understand that their children are developmentally appropriate and following curriculum. It's more of understanding what the expectations of the parents are and trying to also fit there and make them understand that the system is changing, right? So we've got Prachi here who'd like to say something too.
Hi, I'm sorry I can't put on my video because there are some connectivity issues. So is it okay if I can speak like that?
No worries.
Okay, so I am here in Bangladesh, and we have, for parents, we have done many workshops time and again to kind of, because they have no idea about inquiry-based learning. So in order to reduce their guesswork and expectations, we have a mandatory 8-hour workshop at the beginning of the year, in which we walk them through everything. We have them real sessions with them in the classroom so that they have an idea about what their child's day looks like. I'm specifically talking about kindergarten and early years. And we go through these like on a weekly or a bi-weekly basis so that they understand that this is learning through play. It's an inquiry-based learning, and that has helped us a lot. So I guess, yes, in a way it has worked very well for us because we have been communicating and talking and explaining to the parents. It's like you're not only teaching the child, but teaching the parent as well. So that worked well for us. There is something else that I want to share. In my previous school, I had an opportunity to learn about Riverside School in Ahmedabad. in India, they follow a philosophy of I CAN, in which they follow a model of FIDS, that is feel, imagine, do, and share. So I have also tried to do that in my school here in Bangladesh, and that has helped me a lot, because I do not share the central ideas at the beginning of the unit. I kind of give a broad idea, and I let the students feel what it is all about and jot down their thoughts, and then take them through the process of imagination. What are the ideas? How can we reach this? And then we actually have a co-created plan, and then we share it. We have feedback with the parents and the learners. So that has worked well for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So here we have, let me see. Yeah, we have coffee mornings for parents. Ragna says, guys, if I say your name's wrong, I'm very sorry. When you come live, then you can say it right, and I will learn how to pronounce it. Ragna says, we do have coffee mornings for parents where we invite the parents, we take the parents through the inquiry process and how the integration happens. So basically, the parents are students. Parents are students, students are students, and we are students. So that is a great culture for us to have at school. And it also takes pressure off our shoulders that we don't need to be right all the time, right? So guys, if you would like to share some strategies that work for you to empower parents, to empower students, to empower teachers, as if you're leaders or if you're just colleagues who would like to help each other, that'd be great.
And in between, that I will say that I think the best way, where all the ideas that you shared are really, really great and amazing, and also sometimes context specific, which is important. But I think it's back to the message of this keynote is we should do the same with parents. We should also connect with them. We should relate. We should make them feel a sense of community and feel invited, and intentionally invite them, especially when they don't know, because that's a vulnerability zone. So we want them to feel really welcome. We want to give them the tools, so that you mentioned all of the sessions, and nowadays to include even more people. We can do it blended or online. So the people who couldn't make it because they're working, they can watch online, and maybe they can respond through the channels of the school and share more ideas. I really, really suggest you to look at this book, The Self-Driven Child. I have done this book study with parents, and I learned it from my previous school. I learned about this book. It's amazing. The amount of agency, you can break it down exactly for the parents. It's for parents, but it's also amazing for educators. And it's exactly the message of this keynote. I mean, I'm not inventing the self-determination theory. I'm just drawing from it because it's what's really the pillar of what we do. So yeah. And more than ever, I think if we haven't built those relationships with parents during the pandemic, we would have noticed that it was really hard to reach out to families. So this should be our priority, I guess, depending on our situation, to really make them partners, to invite them to, yeah. That's
great. Susie just shared because there were many people asking about this refocus spot, right? So she said, my calming corner had a bean chair, a small area rug, and a basket with a mirror, squeeze toy, glitter ball, and a set of calming cards. When a child feels themselves becoming upset, frustrated, overwhelmed, they could choose to go to the area to cool down, refocus. Sometimes my first graders can gain the I CAN spirit once they calm down. They return when they are ready, and most of the time, the class does not even notice they have removed themselves. Thank you very much for sharing. That's really, really useful. So Dilek, do you still want to add something? I'm trying to unmute you, but.
Thank you so much. So I have been working in a PYP school for many years, and I'm also a Reggio Emilia inspired teacher. So I am a strong believer of this altogether as a combination. So I completely agree to you that parents are the community of learners. They need to be in this journey with all the children. And also I am the strong believer of the learning environment. Sometimes we usually focus on the students, how we can help regulating, but we sometimes need to consider more how to create the environment as third teacher, which talks, walls talks, right? So everything, the materials that we use and we provide, everything. So we need to consider when we welcome the children to our classrooms. And also we as teachers need to understand the power of listening. So all children, yes, I completely understand. We always go and ask the child, what is your goal? So what is next? But it is happening in their play all the time. They keep setting goal like every minute. But if we listen to them, then we can plan the journey. So even they ask us what they need, we provide them immediately in their environment. So they keep building their question and their theories. And also we need to model, of course, to the parents. I think it is in our practice, we use pedagogical documentation. So we do ongoing documentation while our children are in the process. And this year we use Toddle. It is most of you maybe know, to online pedagogical documentation. So it is ongoing, everything is shared with parents, so we can also have their reflections and the kids as well. So yeah, so for now, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Dina here.
Hello. Yes, I just wanted to share something useful that we do with the parents in my school. We have weekly updates. In the weekly updates, we share with the parents most of the projects that are taking places, most of the activities that we are doing, the intention for self-regulated project that the kids are going to have to do over the weekends. So sometimes we ask them that they would allow the students some time to sit with them, to interview them, or to talk to the neighbors, or to walk around the house to do one of the activities. So this weekly updates thing keeps the parents aware of what's happening in the class. So they have a common of trust between the school and themselves. So when they are aware, when they are involved, when they are feeling that they are in the same picture with us, we have this relief and the trust from the parents that allows us to have the agency and the choice of the students with bigger sense of freedom, because the parents are then able to understand how is the inquiry happening, in which stage of the cycle of the inquiry we are in, what are we expecting from the students, and what are we expecting from them, whether to help or to leave them alone. So I believe this is somehow help me and other teachers to be able to communicate with the parents on regular basis.
Let me read Janet's idea. She said, at the beginning of an inquiry unit, teachers can hold virtual meetings with parents to invite them to be a part of the inquiry unit and explain your goals with the students. Kind of like co-creating, I guess, too. Perhaps the parents can create their own set of lines of inquiry to build a bridge from school to home. Amazing. This will help us build involvement and with parents to continue inspiring our students at home. You bring learning to real life, and parents can help with students responding to real life events. This also helps build teacher-parents relationships. So if behavior needs arise, the connection with the parents is already made. Definitely. Ruma, would you like to say something? Yep.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Yeah, I feel the parents need to be connected, and that's very important part of every school learning. Now, we could have, what we do is we have regular parent orientation programs where we keep them aware of what is exactly happening. Besides, we would also have them on certain events and keep them updated on a weekly basis or a fortnightly basis through a feedback of what is going on at our levels in the school, so that whenever they have any query, any issues, they can get back to us very easily. And for handling of the children, where they feel competent and related and autonomy that we were talking about, I feel circle time activities are very, very important, and which could be held regularly, weekly in a classroom, where the students can get their freedom to speak and share. No judgment. Each child gets the opportunity to speak and share their views and what they are feeling. So that their views, their feelings are cared for. And this, I think, goes a long way. I've been associated with the primary section for the last 25 years now. And this has been a very, very important part of my curriculum. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Roman. Thank you very much for your thoughts. We've got Rima there who would like to say something too, apparently.
Yeah, hi. I'm from Singapore. Now, what we do is, I think it's very, very important for parents to feel very connected with what's happening in the school. So, I mean, establishing a rapport with parents is very, very important. So, what we do is we do something called sunshine calls, which means that, every twice a month or something, teachers call the parents of every single child, and they constantly ask them for feedbacks about, whether they think whatever is happening in school is okay. Also, we're looking at areas of improvement. That's the only way we can make improvements in what's happening in the school currently. And apart from that, we send every week, a weekly report is sent to parents. So that tells them exactly what's happened in the school, because we know children, because we work with kindergarten students. So what happens is children they don't normally tell parents exactly what's happening at school. So this weekly report provides an insight into what's happening in the school on a weekly basis. So parents can work with the children. There's some reinforcement to be done. Parents can work with the children, and they know what is happening in school exactly. So yeah, so this is something that we do, and that's what I wanted to tell you.
Thank you so much, Rima.
Thank you.
That's
Thanks.
great. You guys were asking about some strategies to cultivate the I CAN power in online learning, right? So here, Raquel says, aside from parent forums and briefing, we invite parents as guest speakers, and that's something that we could do online, and share their expertise based on the theme the students are in. We also have parent-student activities where parents and kids work together on a project. Student-led conferences are also done where parents are invited to see their kids and showcase their learning journey and share their talent. This is done every quarter, and that can also apply to online learning, as we said. Fanny Passport was talking about the digital portfolio, right? Where students self-report their learning to parents is powerful, right? So Fanny, would you like to say something? Would you like to explain a bit how you guys do it?
Well, we don't do it exactly. We do it, but like some grades do it, some grades don't. Right now, it's more like not really streamlined, but I've worked in schools where this is done as a consistent way, consistently, and it's really powerful, because what we also want in this scenario is for the teachers to also reconnect to the purpose of what they're doing. And if they're spending so much time with the task of reporting, when the kids can actually do it for some part of the reporting, then we might as well let them do it or do it with them. So I like using tools like Seesaw, there's Story Park. I think Seesaw is even better than Story Park in terms of the agency to the learner, because even a preschooler, a 3-year-old can pick up an iPad
and create something and share it. So I like this tool. It's simple. It's a way for the learners to release their agency at any age, for parents to receive updates from their students. So it's, in a way, it's kind of inviting parents into the classroom and making them experience what it is. Because like when we write about what we do, like it depends what, like a newsletter has a different purpose. A report card has a different purpose. But when we invite parents into the classroom, or when they see their child's post on Seesaw, they are seeing the authentic experience of the child. And I think that's what we want. We want education, learning to be real, to also show the mistakes of the learners and to show how they progress. So that's, I would say, maybe something even more powerful than the teacher reporting to the parents all the time. I think the teachers should report to the parents, but the learners can do a lot more. And I think we are going that way with 21st century innovative education, self-directedness, more and more schools getting rid of standardized testing. Some are going gradeless, some going mastery transcripts and things like that. So we need to embed those social emotional learning skills into the fabric of everything we do. And that's how we show it. We show it the way it is to parents. We show the process, not just the product.
Thank you very much, Fanny. Isabel from Colombia, who's joining us from Colombia, she says that she works in kindergarten and use some strategies in the classroom, but they have to be updated with something new quite often, right? Her favorite ones are the traffic light about decision making. Students can ask for help or orientation whenever they want. They decide the color. They are according to their personal reflection. And then the second one is reflection time at the end of the day. They recognize each other for things they consider they have been wow during the day. So these wow moments are pretty special. So you can also use it as a checkout routine. We normally wonder, we have a deep wondering before we go home, and that could also be a checkout routine. Chad would like to say something too. Welcome again.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, Fanny, could you talk a little bit about maybe why you laid out the culture of the I CAN in those from relatedness to competence to autonomy, and even spoke in that order, and how important you know the relatedness is to and competence are to establish that culture of autonomy. Even maybe just elaborate on that a little more for us.
All right, Fanny. Here you are.
I think I had a purpose. I think I have a purpose in putting relatedness first, for sure. But at the same time, it doesn't have to be linear. I feel it depends on what the child needs. But I think for each child, even adults, we need to tap onto those three areas. And if the child cannot learn, it's probably because, it can be because they don't relate. If they don't belong, I don't think they can really build their competence and autonomy.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I think, you know, that relationship piece, that safe, kind of like Maslow's hierarchies type ideas are first and foremost in our classrooms. And then if we don't see the child as competent and capable of the autonomy, then we never really do realize and make the autonomy happen in our classrooms. And so I think the order that you placed them in is ideal. I think unless we connect with them, then we don't see their competence. And if we don't see their competence, we can't see them as being autonomous. And I think that's a very important piece. And I really enjoyed that.
Thank you. And I really love, for me right now, I'm all about the relatedness. I'm all about inclusion. I'm just really focused in reading about this, which takes over everything else, because everything else is going to work. If we have built a relationship with our students, it's going to be fine. I liked what you're saying.
Maslow before before you bloom, I guess.
Absolutely.
Right.
Jonathan
Yeah.
just mentioned that relatedness reminds him of Maslow's hierarchy at some level,
Yeah.
while competence and autonomy makes him think about self-efficacy. So
Absolutely. And also what you said, Chad, in between, you kind of waved it there elegantly, is very important that we need to believe it as teachers. We need to believe that our students can. Indeed, this is like research I don't know which paper right now, it's not right in front of me, but there are multiple research that have shown that when the teachers believe believe that the student can, there is a better performance. So we need to we need to really believe in them, all of them. And I really think and I hope that all schools, and including international schools, will become inclusive, full inclusion, because we are talking about segregation, discrimination right now. It's a hard topic, it's hard, but I think we need to have all learners in the school.